Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to talk about Ascended Heroes. We need to talk about the fact that the pre-orders for Ascended Heroes went up on the Pokémon Center online, and we need to talk about how it went. And the short version is, and this will be heavily caveated, the short version is it went better. And when I say better, I need to stress, I don't mean perfect. I don't mean everybody got what they wanted. I don't mean all of my friends got what they wanted. I don't mean it was easy for me to get it, although I did actually get out in the end, not without a lot of bother. We'll talk about that in a minute. I mean it went better. As a side note, for me, I think it went up at a better time this time. I also wasn't on the train home from commentating a Pokemon event, which is how I missed the Phantasmal Flames Elite Trainer box. Still salty about that, but I was literally on a train home from commentating Frankfurt Regionals, and I missed the drop for Phantasmal Flames. Never got that Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. Not very happy about it, frankly, but I digress. But it did go up, and to be honest, it lasted a little while. UK time, it went up somewhere around 6:40 p.m, and it sold out at somewhere around 10 past 9. Judging from, I checked out at like 1 minute past 9, and I saw people at 10 past 9 posting that it had sold out. So they're rough timings. They are rough timings, but it took about 2.5 hours. On the UK Pokemon Center, it took about 2.5 hours for it to sell out. That's not to say everybody got in or any of that, but that's about where we are. Now, one thing we need to talk about before we get going, because this, I don't understand it, there was a limit of 2. Why was there a limit of 2? I don't understand why there would be a limit of 2 of these. That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. These products were guaranteed to sell out. And I mean guaranteed. It's been a very long time since any Pokemon product sold out. There was no way these weren't going to sell out. They were absolutely going to sell out. If a product is guaranteed to sell out, then setting a purchase limit of 2 rather than 1 just means that half the amount of people get them. Again, I'm assuming here that the system is set up well, such that, bots aren't creating millions of accounts and getting in and all of that. But even if they are, surely a purchase limit of 1 is still better. I don't understand why there is a purchase limit of 2. That made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Several of my friends messaged me being like, why is there a limit of 2? I don't know. I don't understand. Because the other thing is, who's checking out and not buying 2 of these? Now, I sincerely hope it's there for opening. Or for other people. Like, I have a friend who checked out 2, 1 for him, 1 for his wife. That makes perfect sense. I know several people that checked out 2, 1 for them, 1 for somebody else. I get why you would want to check out 2. If you checked out 2, 1 to open, 1 to sell, that's not cool. I know people like to have this theory of, well, you're only a scalper if you're selling X amount or any of that. If you're buying it to resell. But the point I'm making here is the limit of 2 made no sense to me. I don't know why there was a limit of 2. It should have been a limit of 1. And it would have stayed in stock longer if they had a limit of 1. So I don't get that at all. But having said that, here's what happened when I went to order. I went to order, and like most people, I was met with a screen like this. Yeah. It said hours. When I went on, it started at like 5.5 hours, went up to 6, and then mucked around, and eventually, even though it said 6 hours at one point, I eventually got in after around an hour and a half-ish. And then it failed, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. I eventually got through after about an hour and a half of waiting, which is fine. I'm in a queue. It takes a while. I don't mind. I'll be honest with you, I was editing videos. I'm often editing videos. But I finally got in, And then I went to do the checkout, and I got to the little capture thing to confirm who I was, and then it froze, and it froze for a while, and then apologies for the off-screen photo, but I was on my wife's laptop, just came up temporarily unavailable. Don't know is the honest answer, but yeah. I waited for an hour and a half and I got kicked out. So I joined the queue again, but this time I joined it on my wife's laptop and 5 minutes later on my own laptop. And the same thing happened on my wife's laptop. I went to check out and it didn't work. I eventually checked out on my own laptop, and this was just gone 9 o'clock, so about 2 hours and 20 minutes after I started. I did get my Elite Trainer boxes, but not before I had 2 failed runs. And I'm not the only one. Check on Twitter and you'll see a bunch of images like this. And these are people trying to check out. These are people getting towards the end and finding themselves out of luck. And this is something that happens quite a bit. And I don't know how I feel about this. Because on the one hand, this is clearly a feature of Pokemon's anti-bot software, where they're trying to stop bots, and it's working a little bit too officiously, and it's catching regular people like myself as well. But they're clearly trying to stop bots, and I love that they're trying to stop bots. And on the other hand, there's a lot of regular people, and I had several friends who were in the same position as me, but then didn't check out in the end. There are several people who are getting, I say several, it's a lot more than that. There are a lot of people who are getting caught in the crossfire here and are finding themselves unable to check out. So on the one hand, I'm kind of loving that Pokemon are clearly trying to stop bots, and that's awesome. And on the other hand, too many people are getting caught in the crossfire, and this is rubbish. So when it comes to the Ascended Heroes Pokémon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box drop, there's good and bad news. The good news is they were in stock for like 2.5 hours. And if you joined, when I actually got in at just gone 9 o'clock, I didn't join the queue until about 20 past 8. So I joined the queue pretty much not far off 2 hours after the queue opened, and I still got in and checked out. That was awesome. I think time-wise it's actually kind of working. I think they sell out slow enough that even, like I say, when I eventually checked out after all of the issues, and there were 2 failed attempts, when I finally checked out, I joined the queue about just under 2 hours after it went live, and I checked out in like 40 minutes. And that's awesome. But by the same token, I had 2 failed attempts and had to go on a different computer. And there were multiple people who had failed attempts who didn't get through. So there is genuine good news here. They are not selling out in 5 minutes. They are staying around, and there are opportunities to get in. And honestly, the issues I'm seeing here from pretty much everybody, it's not they sold out in minutes or any of that. The issues are I keep getting caught by the anti-bot software or whatever it is, and then I don't get in. And that is kind of rubbish. The good news is, if you go over to eBay, there was a screenshot I saw on Twitter yesterday, and it was this. 4 listings in a row where people are essentially just rushing to list this at a price that will sell and listing it lower and lower and lower. This is awesome. There are listings online right now for around $200, and I am not saying that is a good price. It's way too expensive for like a $60 product. But people were trying to sell initially at like $300, and basically that got smacked down instantly. I know they're being resold on eBay. I know they are going to sell. It sucks and I hate it. But it's better than it has been. And I am not arguing in this video that this was an unqualified success. And I'm not saying that everybody got what they wanted, because I know for a fact there are a lot of people that didn't. What I am saying is the fact that I joined the queue nearly 2 hours late and checked out is a win. The fact that it's staying in stock for quite a while is a win. The big issue here is regular people not being able to check out, which is happening way too often. And I still do not, for the life of me, understand why there is a purchase limit of 2. There doesn't need to be a purchase limit of 2. And the fact that there is a purchase limit of 2 is honestly just making it harder for regular people. Okay, there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Tell me how hyped you are for Ascended Heroes. Tell me if you checked out. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Stegoraptor, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.